What made you move from Stephen City out to Great Falls?
So, I mean, overall, I've been in private practice at an orthodontist for almost 12 years. But I kind of left Stevens City to go to college, went to JMU, did my dental training, everything actually at VCU.
Okay.
So I did all my education, higher education, stayed in Virginia. And then after residency, I practiced for a couple years at multiple offices. So I was an associate for about 2 years. And that was honestly like another 2 years of school.
Yeah.
It was an incredible experience to be able to see so many different offices operate, how their teams operate, how they treat their patients. And then, after a couple years, my husband and I, we got the opportunity. I purchased a practice in Reston, and I had met my husband at JMU. So we kind of always wanted to come back. And I just remember have so many fond memories of Reston growing up in Stevens City. I felt like a pseudo Northern Virginia local.
Yeah.
Went to the town center all the time growing up for fun winter events, but the opportunity came up and I bought a practice from a retiring orthodontist about 10 years ago. Almost 10 years ago now I've been in private practice. So we've been loving it. So yeah, that's what brought me back to Reston.
I love that. So what made you decide to buy a practice versus start your own from scratch? Like, what is that
That's yeah,
process?
there is a lot of thought that really goes into, okay, like I'm making a decision that will set up the foundation for lifelong career. Which path do you want to take? And for me, I really actually had spoken to my colleagues, quite a bit. My co-residents that I graduated with, we all really stayed in touch and got to hear from them all of their various experiences on what we all did after graduating. And I really found that the ones that had been able to purchase an existing practice, so they at least had some foundation of patients, of a community support around them. And that was kind of really meant a lot to me instead of kind of starting from scratch and being, the total brand new business, brand new entity to kind of step in and take over a needed role to fill in a community just kind of resonated with me more.
Got it. So it's just
Yeah,
more of like that was your comfort zone and a higher rate of success.
exactly. I mean, it was just to me, it was just really a good feeling
Got it.
to be able to have that position of taking over for someone who was retiring, who had served the Reston community for, 40 years or so.
Oh,
And
wow.
and I was able, I mean, it was a small practice. I was able to purchase the practice, but kind of take it over as well and rebrand it
Yeah.
to myself and my team and my personality, but did have that base there and, local dentists that had already been familiar with the practice in the area and the doctor. And so it was to me, a good transition.
I was gonna say, was that hard? Because you're coming in, you look edgy with your cute jacket, and you're like young and fresh. And if you took over for somebody who was doing it for
Yes.
40 years, I'm gonna guess that they were on the older
Yes.
side, ready to kind of
Yes.
exit. How was that
Yes.
transition?
We just kind of hit the ground running. My husband and I were super excited to take it on, and we really just had the chance. We were able to put our own personality on it, put my own personality on it, and just as long as you keep in mind that the patient care is the ultimate priority, everything else starts to kind of shift and be put into place. But yeah, it was kind of fun to be able to put my stamp on it
I
for
love that.
sure.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
What's your future plans? Like, are you gonna keep this practice? Are you looking to expand in the future?
So I totally love my practice. So yeah, Stang Family Orthodontics in Reston, and I currently don't have plans to expand into various locations. I'm the only doctor there, and for now that is what is working for me, and that is what I love and gives me my everyday passion. And I do adore my team and my patients. So growing in different ways, what I would, I'm kind of trying to shift a little bit of priority to education. So myself taking on a role into teaching and educating my peers, but also, the general public. There's a lot of advertising for orthodontics, direct to consumer type where you can potentially skip over the specialist. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a shift in my priority for sure is, be more involved in the teaching. And
You're doing TikTok videos?
we are definitely doing some more TikTok videos, Instagram, social media type overall education. And
Yeah.
I've actually become a speaker for a clear aligner company for Spark aligners. So doing like local speaking engagements in the DMV area. And then we'll be speaking actually out in California next year. So that's kind of a super fun, exciting shift that I think my whole team is pumped for it too. They're excited to be on board.
That's exciting. So tell me about what do you do outside of growing this amazing practice?
Oh gosh, so I have an awesome family. I have 2 kids, 2 boys, and being a mom and being a business owner, it's all just kind of you got to figure out how to work it all in and time manage, but have a ton of fun with my family. Of course, they're a big priority, and I would say I really do just pour my heart and soul into the practice as well, and to my patients. I mean, they're everything to us for sure.
That's great. Do the boys play sports or anything?
Yes. We're trying lots of different things this year too. So I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Okay, that's the right age.
Yes, where you're trying it all.
Yeah.
So we have tennis going, soccer, baseball, flag football, lacrosse. So
Oh my God, that's a lot.
a lot of activities. We're like, let's just try it all and see what sticks. And it's fun for my husband and I to be able to kind of watch from the sideline and see your own kids try and find their own path and their own way and what they enjoy.
I totally agree. Now, is your husband a business owner as well?
He is not. He is not. He is a scientist, actually.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, so he's a chemist. He's a PhD chemist, and he actually works in a pharmaceutical company. So it's kind of interesting how the different, two totally different perspectives at home for sure. But
I was going to say, and it's probably nice. You probably have, I don't know, maybe this isn't true, so correct me if I'm wrong. You probably have a lot of freedom and flexibility in your schedule, at least where you can say, this time I need off, this time I need to.
Yes.
That way you can kind of manage.
Yes. So I think you have to a little bit be flexible, and I try and impart as much flexibility I can as well for my own team members.
Yeah.
That things come up. We all have family priorities, different obligations. So that is definitely a great perspective of being your own business owner, is being able to block certain times if you absolutely need it.
I totally agree. Yeah. That's what I love, is being able to have a team who understands when I'm like, hey, I'm going to be running a little late.
And I try my best to be mutually understanding too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So in terms of like growing and working with your patients, how are you handling your marketing? Like, I know you're doing educational stuff on social media, but what are some other
marketing
things?
is so diverse. When I first took over the practice, and obviously, like I said, kind of rebranded it as my own, I really spent like 2 years doing almost like the old school marketing and like going door to door to dental offices, other specialties that, pediatric dentists that may be able to send patients my way, mostly to try and establish that connection of trust so we could more easily share patients. So that was such a big priority for me. Still is, just in different ways. And now we've taken those referrals and connections and built upon those, and for sure gotten into more social media marketing, but also we do a lot in our community. I support the local schools, as much as I can, whether it be sponsoring events or making contributions if they have a specific need. So that is probably one of the most fulfilling things, is really lifting up the community. There's other organizations, my whole team, we volunteer at. Women Giving Back is something that we have been a part of and helping them. And Cornerstones is actually a local Reston organization that I specifically have a partnership with and offer a free case of braces to one of the family members or the children in their program. Nice. So it's just so many different aspects to marketing, and it's all about the patients and really building that trust through connections.
Isn't it great as a business owner that we can create that community and give back in ways that I know when I was an employee, I couldn't.
Exactly.
And now we can make an impact in our communities.
It is super fulfilling for myself and the team to be a part of this stuff and really see, where we can kind of spread the love and that kind of thing always feeds your soul for sure.
Who were you as a little girl? 7-year-old version of you?
Oh my gosh. I went through many evolutions. I'm sure my family will, echo that sentiment. Went through many evolutions. I would say curious for sure, but strong-minded, 100% as a kid. And yeah, I was one of those kids, I wanted to be a dentist at 15. Yeah. And I was like, this is it. I love teeth. Spit doesn't gross me out. Let's do this. So
the qualifier,
yes,
being a dentist.
Exactly. I do give a lot of talks to the kids for career days and this and that. And that's typically one thing I like to say, if teeth and spit don't gross you out, hey,
you might be
able to be a dentist. Yes, exactly. Just kind of curious and just kind of wanting to learn for sure.
That's fun though, that you knew by the age of 15 that you were determined to be a dentist.
Yeah, I know. It was kind of
a little stubborn girl just went through
with
it, right?
Yes. And then I was able to actually get my full round of braces a little bit later. I was late high school and into early college. And that it really did. It gave me the confidence boost I didn't even know I needed. And I was like, whoa, that really, it transformed my face. And I was like, okay, well, dental school is in the works and, let me just do everything I can. I want to be that role in other people's lives, to be a part of that transformation. So that kind of really set that tone for sure.
I was going to say why, and you just answered
it.
So.
Yeah, it was a very much of a transformative experience. And now on a day-to-day, myself and my team to be able to witness that, whether it's a 7-year-old or a 77-year-old that's been waiting to do something for themselves, it's very, very satisfying for sure.
I used to work at a hospital as an EKG tech in college. Wow. And I remember seeing an 80-something-year-old woman with braces on.
Oh, yeah.
And I was I remember when I saw it, I was good for her.
Exactly. Exactly. I think there was an article and it was some reputable journal that was adult orthodontic treatment, the fountain of youth. It's you instantly feel younger.
Yeah. Well, the fact that she still had all of her teeth.
There you go. Oh, that's huge.
Amazing.
You're right. That is absolutely huge. So many adults, they don't think it's for them. And then they're so surprised to hear all of our options too. It's not just traditional braces. There's behind the teeth braces, clear aligners. There's so many things that you can do to boost that smile, especially with the shift in virtual work. That really was an eye-opener for so many adults to see themselves
so close
on the screen. I never noticed, my teeth really looked like that. So that was a really neat and interesting thing that came out of the pandemic.
You probably heard that when the adults come, they're any braces? Do you ask them what makes you believe you want braces?
Oh yeah, that's always my first question. Okay. Especially for adults in particular, because I want to make sure that we're customizing their treatment plan. It's very different, I think, when an adult comes in for treatment versus, an adolescent kid coming with their family. I really want to hone in on what is their priority, because while as a specialist, I see the big picture and I would love to treat every case like to textbook to a T. But that's not every adult's reality. You know, they really might want just certain things changed. And so I really make it a very much of a point at the initial consultation to hone in right at the beginning is what is it that you see that you want to change in your mouth. So that's
Exactly.
kind of how we start the conversation.
I was going to say, what's your process? What does it look like when somebody's like, I think I need braces? Then what happens? Or
Sure.
their dentist says that.
Yeah, so it might be their dentist that sends them over that sees something. It could be it has to do with their bite or crowding, making it difficult to keep things clean, or they find us online based on reviews, things like that. So they come in. Our initial consultation is free; it's complimentary, and you kind of feel the love when you come in. You meet my administrative team, who's fantastic. You get a tour of my office, and then we sit in a private consultation room and we get initial photographs of your teeth, and then we do a clinical exam, and then we get into more of the conversation of it. What is their priority, either a parent with a child or themselves as an adult? And then we go over their options, appliances, braces, aligners behind the teeth. We do, even though I'm a specialist office, we have a lot of tools that we
Yeah.
can use. So people really do like that they have the options. I think every adult appreciates options. Exactly.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So in terms of kind of looking out in the next 5, 10 years, what are you hoping the type of impact you're going to make,
Sure. That's
or
a
that you
really
are
great
making and that you
question.
want to make?
Yeah. We always want to be the best part of our patient's day. That is a huge priority for everyone on the team. And as I mentioned, the future impact is like the educational component, is really everyone is consuming information in such different ways now. And to be a voice of, research-backed education, it would be so super satisfying. And I think allow patients to make, really good decisions for themselves. I mean, I've had many consultations come in that have been guided into a do-it-yourself, straighten your teeth, and they have lost teeth. They have had to now reinvest lots of money to correcting what couldn't be corrected without the guidance of a specialist. So that's what I think myself and our whole specialty is kind of all about is, patient awareness and education. So being a part of that knowledge,
I love it. That's great. If you had last question, if you had one message to the world,
Oh gosh.
the pressure's on.
Yeah.
What would that message be?
It is just never too late to get that feeling of that smile looking back at you and loving every detail of what you see back in the mirror, for sure. It is never too late. And I always say, the aesthetics, the side effect of the aesthetics of orthodontic treatment is the side effect, but the ultimate goal is to get the bite to fit together, and that's what will give you ultimately like the healthiest bite moving forward, and that's where you get the smile from.
Which I learned, just as a side note,
Oh, yeah.
that good bite affects more than just being able to chew well.
Yes,
Like
speech articulation is a big one for kids in particular. We see kids as young as 7 to 8 years old, and some of them it might be they're having a speech disfluency and the teacher's concerned, and then we find that maybe the shape of their upper jaw or the way their teeth are overlapping is not allowing for proper tongue position, airflow, things like that. So it's really neat how we can kind of tackle various discrepancies in a relatively simple way.
I was going to say, yeah, all just from your.
Yes, exactly. And we make it as fun as possible.
Yeah.
We do our best for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show. It was great learning from you.
Thank you for having me. What a treat. Thank you. Thank you.